Benedict, you write for a range of newspapers, but not least the Eye and the Independent, but so with very much the hack's hat on. I mean, that is not an accident that the Prime Minister, back to the wall, goes first to the Telegraph, then to the Sun, and then obligatory BBC ITN.
Yeah, goes to the papers that are most likely to support her, and I think it says rather a lot that those papers were not really in a very conciliatory mood. I think Harry Cole's question there, you came as a pair, he's gone, surely you have to go. I think that sums it up.
I think that's like they call in the trade a zinger.
Yeah, I thought, I agree.
Harry does zingers. Yeah. Harry Cole does zingers.
He does them very well. I do agree. I thought she looked remarkably steely, but steely in the way that a football manager who's just been shellacked 6-0 and knows Sam Allardyce is about to replace him says, I have the full backing of the board. That was the vibe that I got. Obviously she has to put out a united front, but quite clearly this was a chastening experience, and whatever's gone before has been even more so.
Catherine, she also, on the economics of it, but there's a very important political nuance to this, given what the three of us have been talking about, and also Claire when she was here. Spending will now grow less rapidly than had been planned, and I am incredibly sorry, her adjective, incredibly sorry, to see Kwasi go.
Yes, but will it be enough? What struck me most, really, was the questions. There was no friendly journalist anywhere to be seen. They were very brutal. They were pretty much all on a theme, which is, how can you stay? Where's your credibility? And will you apologise? And I thought she looked quite lost. She was looking around to find someone, and I thought, why did they not give her a list of questions? So you go, Harry Cole, she just looked. I found it was actually quite hard to watch.
It's an interesting point, because we all know, because we've all done it on occasion, that there is a list. There must have. She would not have gone to that podium without a list. And you often saw Boris making a joke almost. Oh, where we go? Oh, piston. And off you jolly well go. I mean, she could not have been thinking, where's the Telegraph and where's Harry?
Why did she not just... She just looked lost to me.
And if ever you want a time saying, right, now you, it's a kind of authoritative thing. She also, sticking with you, and then you two come in on this as well, because another thing I jotted down in my 3 pages of longhand notes, Jeremy Hunt, widely respected and one of the most experienced ministers available. I mean, not just he'll take over and carry on with what I want done, but bigging up Hunt, as clearly in the circumstances she had to, but I'm not sure that the Conservative Parliamentary Party will be as one in that description of J. Hunt. No, not at all. I mean, he's clearly a serious person. He's had lots of cabinet jobs. He's seen as moderate. He backed Rishi Sunak, but didn't make a big fuss about it. So she's reaching out in that sense. I'm not sure... Having had his hat in the ring initially. I'm not sure how popular he really is. I mean, he didn't get far in the leadership contest. I'd be really fascinated to know Sajid Javid, who would have seemed to be an obvious and unifying choice. What happened? We may not ever...
Maybe he turned her down. Maybe he turned her down.
I mean, you would wonder...
You'd want to be Chancellor now. It's a really sticky wicket.
Maybe.
It's a really sticky wicket.
You would wonder almost now whether Sajid might be waiting and saying, well, let's see what happens next, because if Rishi Sunak did come back, if Penny Mordaunt was Foreign Secretary, he could go straight back to being Chancellor. Who knows? Benedict, let me bring you back in again for that, your comment on what the Prime Minister had to say about Jeremy Hunt, her new Chancellor of the Exchequer. I mean, you read the mood in the Conservative Parliamentary Party pretty damn closely. What's your take?
He's not a popular man. I mean, obviously she has to big him up, but I think if anybody wants to think back, what was his stance on Boris Johnson, the most popular Tory leader that they've had in a generation? Well, he was perhaps his biggest, most vocal critic. What was his stance on lockdowns? He was one of the biggest advocates for lockdown, indeed going as far as praising China during the lockdown. These are not things, actually, necessarily that you want to be associated with. They're not very popular things within the Tory party right now. As you said, of course, she has to big up her choice. But if that's the only person that was prepared to take the job, well, I think that kind of speaks volumes as to where she currently is.